the Township School District is located in Oakhurst, New Jersey, which is considered part of the Jersey Shore. We have a total of approximately 3,000 students, and 7% of those students are identified as multilingual learners. Our multilingual learner population is made up of 4 high-intensity languages, the highest being Spanish, second Portuguese, Haitian Creole, and Arabic. But we have a total of 32 home languages currently present in our district. So 7% of a total of our students currently identify multilingual learners and their families are going through our programs in K through 12. But we also have multilingual learners participating in preschool programs. One thing that is particularly unique to us, especially over the last 2-3 years, there's been a specific change. While it's not exclusive to us that there's been an increase of multilingual learner enrollment, what it has been one of the biggest changes, I think, and not necessarily a challenge, but something that we needed to quickly adapt to, was an increase of the type of multilingual learners that we were welcoming into our schools, those who are newcomers. And so newcomer multilingual learners are students who also are immigrants and who have been in the United States for less than 2 years. And so they come with a wealth of assets, but a lot of needs, not necessarily just academic, but in terms of community engagement, parent partnerships, registering for school, making sure they have everything they need, making sure the families feel welcome to come and ask and share information. And so in that regard, the ILA, or the Instant Language Assistant, helped us tremendously to quickly adjust to this change. Within the Spanish-speaking cultures that have arrived, a lot of them come from Central America and North America, so Mexico, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Ecuador. We do have also a high incidence of students coming from countries like Colombia in South America. But I think the most rapidly increase has been our Haitian Creole population, of course, due to geopolitical events. They have come to us. One of the things I think that has impacted this rapid growth of newcomers is one that this is a very successful school district and is very attractive to community members. But families who are multilingual and don't yet have a proficiency in the English language, they would, for instance, come to school for special education meetings, for discussions of students' performance, right, and evaluation, and they would not necessarily be able to understand what were the areas of needs or challenges with the student, and so they were not also able to participate actively in these conversations. Whereas having a device such as the ILA, it allows to facilitate these conversations and makes it more two-way interactive, because even when you have printed translation, you're just giving them the information without really being able to engage them and asking you questions and gathering more information from the students. There were incidents, say, between 2 students, or statements the student made in school that then alerted us to doing assessments of like risk evaluation assessments, in which the parent, of course, has to be contacted. You have to explain the situation, and they need to come to the school. So more situations that time was of the essence, right? And so trying to look for translations online or trying to find an adult that to interpret would have been a hindrance, whereas now more efficiently having the ILAs in all the buildings and having multiple ILAs available it's a lot faster to streamline that process. The ILA hasn't really replaced, it's just been a tremendous addition. And so the limited ways in which we were able to bridge that gap in communication was printed, like I said previously, using Google Translate and using other software that is free and available online. Then we also had teachers or staff members, right, who themselves are multilingual, but they don't necessarily have the academic vocabulary or the specific language to a dialect, even within a language, right? Whereas with the ILA, not only you said you can select Spanish, you can also select and validate, right, the language of the country these families are speaking. This is one of the best solutions there are, and also it's not saying that it's being very well received by the community to realize they have an option. I think if you yourself are not multilingual, then you just assume that once you achieve the proficiency of speaking in English, then you're always going to choose English, especially when you're talking about sensitive conversations or conversations, say, of a medical or disability nature that come with other levels. You want to be comfortable in the language that you're using. We are all more and more so today committed to equity and culturally inclusive practices. Being culturally inclusive and linguistically inclusive means that I'm not going to assume, right, that you'd rather speak to me in English. So then, again, just having that choice has been incredibly validating for families. The main office staff, our secretarial team was excellent. They really took off with the ILAs. They were the ones sort of who, through trial and error, they have given it great reviews. They themselves feel better equipped, right, to do their own jobs, as a lot of the times they would become frustrated because they wouldn't be able to communicate over the phone or when parents would come in person. And again, so their feedback has been they become empowered to do what they do and they're able to reach more families. In regards to the other area that we use it a lot too is for all child study teams. So then they themselves can also ensure the parents and the guardians, when they come to school, they can not only disseminate the information, but like I said, they can gather more data, which in turn makes their own processes more effective. Teachers are very excited also to use it during parent-teacher conferences or when we have a newcomer, especially when they're little kids, right? You want to welcome them. And so I feel like a lot of the times our educators, they just want what's best for the student. And so we just need to make sure they have the tools to do that. The ILA has helped our district, the Township School District, to become more inclusive by bridging between not only cultures, right, by providing access to information, but most importantly, two-way communication in which not only we're able to provide information to families and students, but we're also to receive that information. The ILA has helped me and the other members of my team bridge also those gaps in communication and engagement with families that traditional methods of translation were very limited with. It is also save time trying to utilize another human who perhaps is in charge of doing something else, like finding a world language teacher, right? Their job is to teach languages. And so having the ILA, which we often refer as if it was just another member of our team, has helped us not have to invest so much in other products that translate, say, documents and things of that nature. It is also allows us to more efficiently run meetings with families, such as our bilingual parent advisory committee meetings that we have to host. We use the ILAs for any school or district event. And so after we were able to have enough exposure in the community, the families became empowered to know how to use the device, and now they look for the device as well. And in so that sense, it's sort of become another member of the team, and it's helped us with that. A lot of conversations and a lot of information was being not utilized or accessed prior to having the ILA. Time-wise, right, I think that when you think about finding a staff member who's employed to, say, teach world languages, and you do the breakdown of how much their yearly salary compares to their hourly salary rate, if you think about it, when you pull them out of the classroom, then that's what it's costing you every single time you put someone out of the classroom to interpret, whereas the ILA is an investment that you do once and then you have it. The ILA does come with a lot of possibilities, like pre-uploading forms and questionnaires, so then that also reduces the need of having a human or a person conducting that process. Having it loaded on the ILA does save you the time and money in that regard. So the family impact, I would say, having given them the option at events, right, or meetings or conferences to choose what language has been tremendous, because they have chosen to use other languages other than English, whereas before they would need to rely on someone else interpreting if available, or they just wouldn't come because they assumed they wouldn't be understood. Whereas now that we had the word out there and they see the ILA more and more, because we have the ILAs displayed on the main office, right? We have posters made, we have sent home flyers. Now that they're aware, they know to come because they know they will be understood. One of the biggest challenges, I think, in terms of welcoming our multilingual families and really truly being equitable as a school district in general for all of us, right? Right now is community engagement and parent and guardian involvement in schools, right? And I think one of the key factors where we see perhaps a lower level of involvement is simply because if they don't speak English yet or they don't feel comfortable enough, they just assume they won't be understood or they won't understand. And so having the ILA, it has allowed us to show that yes, we will understand you. Yes, we would like to hear from you. And so that has increased our ability to engage with the families. We've prioritized the ILAs is the main office and the nurse and the child study teams, right? Like the big highest incidence of community facing positions. I have used those devices with the presentation mode, which has been tremendously helpful. The broadcast feature, in which we have had our required meetings with the families, in which we have to provide updates and overviews on our program and their parental rights. And so they have welcomed the opportunity to remotely on their cell phones, being able to select the language. And so in real time, they were able to comprehend me. And so for me, I saw that impact because then they had questions for me, whereas before I would just be disseminating information and then nobody would be asking me any questions. We realized we needed to add additional measures to engage the demographics of our families as they were quickly and rapidly changing. And so the ILA, again, was something that really met that need very quickly. And so as we receive and welcome more multilingual learners, right, rather than view it as a challenge or viewing something that is unsurmountable, having the knowledge and the tools of, say, the ILA, it's something that is gonna really, really help with the process. When other districts have asked about the ILA, because the word is out, my feedback has been that. I think acknowledging that there's no replacement between human to human conversation, but also understanding in the reality that we live in today, the ILA is probably as close to as it gets to having another team member be able to provide that one-to-one interpretation and translation as accurate as any other measure that currently exists. There are very few currently devices or software or programs that are accurate translations and authentic translations, or that they are user-friendly, right? And they're also affordable. So then having something like the ILA come across my way where it kind of checked all those boxes, of course, naturally you're a skeptic. I think that a lot of the times too, when you're looking into these products, if you yourself are not multilingual, then there's a limit to how much you understand whether the product works or it doesn't. And so the fact that I do speak Spanish fluently and I was able to interact with the ILA myself in Spanish, that also helped win me over. The implementation of using the ILAs in our district went into 3 different phases. The first one was having the staff train, and we prioritized department leaders so then they themselves could turn around and turnkey to the members of their departments and the staff. And we also prioritized community-facing positions such as the main office secretaries, the nurses, the child study teams, guidance counselors, etc. The second phase came with the teachers themselves, and then the third phase came with parent and guardians and families as they came to our school events. We also sent flyers. We also put posters in our schools with QR codes to instructions in multiple languages. We used a lot of visuals, and we were also very mindful of centering around the asset of multilingualism and them having the choice to use other languages rather than the assumption that they couldn't use English. Being able to give them the choice to use their own home language is, I think, very a priority there.
Yeah.